their hand. The government which I lead will handle this crisis. We will remain steadfast in the path of peace.
Good morning, it's iRadio.
The Dawn on iRadio.
Right, a very good morning to you and welcome to the second hour of the Dawn program here on iRadio, a live broadcast from the capital, Juba. I'm your host, Emmanuel J, Akile, and it's Wednesday, the 7th of May 2025, 18 minutes now after the hour of 7. Now, in the second hour of the Dawn, we are going to look at ways of combating early and forced marriage through education. Now, in some parts of South Sudan, young girls are married off at an early age, often denying them the opportunity to complete their education, pursue their dreams, and even contribute meaningfully to society. Now, according to UN's UNICEF, over 2.8 million children, more than 70% of school-age children are out of school in South Sudan. Girls are disproportionately affected, with over 75% of primary-age girls in some areas not attending school. Factors such as poverty, child marriage, and cultural norms contribute to the low enrollment rates for girls. So to shed more light on the importance of this topic, I'm joined live from the studio by Dr. Gordon, the Executive Director of Men for Women Organization, and Jaggo GBV Officer working for Women for Justice and Equality. It's good to have both of you in the studio with us this morning. Welcome to iRadio.
Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Let me start with you. What is your overview on the status of early and forced marriage in the country?
Okay, thank you, Emmanuel, and good morning to listeners of iRadio. Early marriage, of course, is defined as when a child, and most usually a girl, is married below the age of 18, while forced marriage happens when both parents, or mostly like one parent, of course, forces a child, being a boy or a girl, to marry or get married without their consent. And in South Sudan has one of the highest rates of child and forced marriages in the continent or even in the world. And a few statistics reveals that about we are number 5 in the whole world in terms of early and forced marriages. And of course, there are a lot of factors, and most of this happens in most cases at the rural areas, where you find that these children especially are forced to marry for very many reasons. You have talked about the issues of social norms, you have talked about issues of economic challenges, political issues, and many other factors that usually comes in. So these are key factors that usually drives, but key is in South Sudan there are a lot of girls that have been married off, and statistics also show that even our current mothers, most of them were married off when they were below the age of 18 at the time. Yeah.
Yes, and what do you make of what he has just mentioned, Anna, if you can add something?
Okay, with what have been mentioned, as we know, early or forced marriage is a gender-based violence because it's done through using force without the agreement from the two parties, either being early marriage, as he mentioned, or forced marriage. So, for marriage is supposed to be agreement between the two, and when it is like the age which is ready to get married, so not to be forced. Marriage is to be enjoyed, not to be persevere.
And Data, as an advocate, what role do you think young people can play in ending early and forced marriage in the country?
One thing is that we are mostly contributors of these issues of early and forced marriage, and a lot of factors comes in, because you find that when a child is when there is a marriage, usually even young people are part and parcel of the process of this marriage, and that starts from that perspective that we need to be able to advocate. First of all, within our circles, we need to end or discourage early and forced marriages. But of course, we need to be able to advocate also for policies that are more positive. But again, in our cultures, you find that if a child, if someone is married, most times young people are the ones who go at first to look for where this our sister is, and we start to welcome each other and all those stuff. So once we start promoting that, that means we are encouraging child and forced marriage in this process, and we. When there is marriage, we go to dance, and mostly it is also young people who are dancing, who are celebrating, and all this. So when we know that this is an early or forced marriage, we don't need to encourage it by not participating in it. That is one. Secondly is we sit in the table to discuss marriages. We sit in the table to decide what can be done. And we know that, for example, as a young person, I'm being paid to school and my sister is not being paid to school because the goal is I am the one who is going to be supporting the family, and for us is going to be married outside. If we are able to also advocate and say, no, we have to challenge this, our practices within our communities, within our families, definitely we are able to contribute towards a society that is just, that is equal, and that looks at every gender as human beings. So we will be able to respect all the rights of people within our families, within our communities.
Right. And Anna, I want you to also mention the role of mothers or women that can really play to challenge these norms that they always view their daughters or their girls as source of income through marriage.
Okay, through the awareness which is going through in women and girl-friendly spaces, women are now coming up knowing the rights of girls and how to support their girls, especially when it comes to these forced marriages. So through the knowledge they got or the information they got from their centers, they were able even to support their communities in terms of when there is this forced marriage to the young girls. So women have that great role whereby sometimes they call the service providers to come into that support, where they normally connect the survivors with the GBV service providers. This is where girls were being able to be supported. This is because of the information they got about types of GBV.
Right. And also similar questions to you that are gotten, but we're looking at it from men, the role that they can play. Yes. Instead of always viewing girls at home as source of resources or an income to the family, instead of actually educating them.
Okay, it brings me back to the aspect of the upbringing, our cultures, our norms that have put it that it is the man, of course, who is responsible for resources, for example, in the family and all. And yesterday we were having a discussion with a friend, and this particular friend was telling me there's this guy who has a big investment, and this investment, he has only one boy, and all the other children are girls, and he entrusted this investment to the boy. And there was money in the bank that the boy was also a signatory to the bank. So about $150,000. This is a guy who married, and of course who chewed the whole money without the notice of the father, and later on the father realized the money is already gone. And this $150,000.
Wow.
What this guy does is he goes, hires a V8, pays every day, moves with the V8. You go to the restaurant, you eat, you sit, you come. You know, just that is the life he wanted to do. And we're like, what could have contributed? You know, society has put it in a way that men are the ones who are supposed to manage resources, but yet there are women who have been taken to school, and they really manage our families very well. And that comes into the aspect even of education. So once we are able to prioritize even the girl child education and not look at the lenses of management of resources, of solving issues from the lenses of sex or gender, definitely we'll be able to curb this. Now, with how do we engage men to be able to do this? Men sits around the tables of decision making. Men definitely knows what is right and wrong. But because we want to protect ourselves, that if a woman now gets more money than me, there are men that will not marry a woman that is earning more salary than them. The woman that is making more money than them. There are those men that, because of the fear of the unknown in them, they will not do that. So that alone contributes negatively to such men bringing up girls, so that they are empowered and then they are able to take care of their families, their resources, and many others. So as men, we need to be able to relearn and unlearn the practices, the social, our cultural practices. We are not saying culture is bad, but there are specific things that we need to be able to unlearn and then learn the new things and bring into the table. So as men, when we are making those decisions, we need to be looking at not the lenses of gender, but the lenses of both male and woman, man and woman, and from the human rights perspective, that yes, I'm making this decision for all of us. It affects all of us, being man and woman.
Right.
Yeah.
So in terms of the management of resources, so you're saying it should not always be boys or men at home. Also, women or girls should also manage the resources. Should be equal.
Definitely. And even when you're allocating your resources, because we know when we do not, we will die at one moment, right? And there is something we call the will. When you're writing your will, it does not mean you have to will your resources to only the boys. You have to distribute your resources equally, even to your girls, so that it is easier for them to both now look at how can we all manage these resources among ourselves. But in case you're still alive, don't only look at the aspect that the boy child should be the one to manage my resources and the girl child shouldn't. You never know. Your girl child might be even far better in managing your resources than the boy child. Yeah.
So this message goes to the parents, to the fathers and mothers, or
it goes both to fathers and mothers in bringing their children. Yeah.
And Anna, tell us, how does gender-based violence intersect with early and forced marriage, and what role does education really play in breaking this circle now?
Okay, education really play a crucial or a great role in promoting this, or let me say education play a great role or crucial role in equipping girls with the skills and knowledge to pursue their future. So if you invest in girl, you invest in a nation. Let me say that.
Right.
Because as he mentioned, girls really, if you give them responsibilities and they will follow, especially with this issue of resources or inheritance. So girls are also supposed to be treated equally with boys or men, let me say. There is no difference between a girl or a boy. If you give them quality education, if you treat them equally. So
Right.
education playing great role.
Right.
Yeah, and maybe just to add
Yes,
a little bit,
sure.
Emmanuel, is that to add into what you said, education plays a very critical role in combating issues of early and forced marriages, because one, education delays marriage. Girls in school, of course, they are less likely to get married young or to marry young than those who are just in the not in school or out of school. So that's one thing, because once you're in school, your mind is engaged in education, doing co-curricular activities, studying. You only come once in a while, especially if you're in the boarding section. You come once in a while home, and then you go back. Even if during the day, if you're a day scholar, you in the morning you go to school, you come back in the evening, like that. And once you come back in the evening, you first take care of yourself, hygienically, maybe go shower, and then help in the family, but also go and study. So it delays that aspect. Secondly, it increases awareness of the rights and the bodily autonomy of the girl child. The girl child gets to understand that at a certain time, I can decide now that I am ready to get married, because I know my bodily autonomy now is ready to do this. The other one is that it offers economic alternatives, of course, for families and girls. One thing is that the alternatives is that we will not be depending on the boy child to contribute economically to their parents. The girl child will also be able to contribute economically to their parents. And once they are in their families, it is not only the husband contributing economically to the household, but also the wife contributes economically to the households. And again, maybe finally, is educated girls can support their communities and families better in the long term. We've seen different women leaders currently in the country that are contributing economically, socially, politically to the girl child, inspiring the girl child, and doing a lot. One is, for example, let's talk about Dr. Anne Ito. She has a farm, and she's inspiring many young girls. We have the Right Honorable Speaker. She has a foundation. She's inspiring many of them and advocating for issues of ending early and forced marriages, and many other women, influential women within the society that are not even in politics, but they're outside politics. So they contribute very positive. Yeah.
Right, and also, what are some of the challenges do you face as a GBV activist or officer in terms of advocating for equal rights between boys and girls in terms of education? How do we use education to empower girls and to fight early child marriage? When you advocate for that, what are the common challenges do you face out there from the society?
Okay, from the society, as we know, giving awareness or educating people on especially like treating girls equally with the boys. Other people, they take it positive, but others, they responded negative based on their cultural norms and, let me say, culture and social norms. We are not saying our cultural norms are not good, but we need to like promote the positive one. The negative one has to be left behind because it's the one contributing to gender-based violence. So other people are now starting coming up, especially men. For those ones normally like who gives their times for us to be during the activities with us and to come for awareness. So they are trying their best by involving other men, encouraging them, not even like, for example, at home, this issue of domestic violence, beating women and not treating girls equally, they are now coming up. So in a society or community normally, we will not say they will take it all positive or negative, but with GBV learning, things will change slowly through the awareness which is done through radio talk show like this or in the community.
Right. And Data, how can schools and educators be better equipped really now to identify and also support girls at risk of early marriage so that they continue with their education?
I think there are a few other factors that we need to put in place so that we will be able to empower the girl child. One is, of course, the aspect of community awareness, campaigns on the values of girls' education. Within the education system, you find that there is the PTA, the Parents Teachers Association, and the SMCs. And these key bodies within the management of the school plays a critical role, and you find that every now and then the parents comes to the school, so it becomes an opportunity for the educators to be able to create more awareness on these parents, because there are moments where the parent will lose hope. Now school fees, job occur, there is no money, what do I do, how do I prioritize this? Now educators needs to look at the aspect of how do we come into a balance with the parents, especially when there is economic crisis like this. This is very important. The other thing is enforcing laws against early and forced marriages, and this law starts from the local level. First of all, even as a parent, you can set up laws within your family. Even within your clans, we can set up laws that we do not need early and forced marriage, but also within the communities, like culturally, but also at the county, state, and the national level, we need to be able to have these laws that are practiced, not just on paper, but also practiced. The other things, we need to support girls in terms of scholarships, safe spaces, and mentorship program, so that they, in case they encounter a challenge, they have where to run to, they have where to ask a question, and they have where to, like, for example, someone will be like, but I'm studying, and with this crisis, even if I graduate and I get married, my husband might not allow me to to work. These are certain things that usually comes in. So why do I have to go and study? So these are certain things that girls need to be encouraged and say, irrespective of a few of the challenges that are happening, that some men do not want their wives to work, but there are those other men that still wants their wives to work. You might fall into that. And how do you even identify those men? And of course, we need to be able to also engage religious leaders and traditional leaders as allies in promoting girls' education, but also challenging early and forced marriages, because they are the gatekeepers within the societies. So if they're able to challenge, for example, a religious leader preaches, during preaching, no one challenges the religious leader. But if they have a question, they usually go back and then they discuss later on. So, but this becomes a key opportunity that we can be able to leverage on.
Right. Bring us about 23 minutes to the top of the hour. Let's go for this short break. And from there, we'll pick calls on 0911-986-986 after the commercial break. Good morning.
The Ministry of Health is conducting a commemoration of African Vaccination Week with rotavirus vaccine, targeting all children aged between 6 to 10 weeks. Take your child to the nearest health center during the African Vaccination Week or the Big Catch-up campaign.
Good morning, Mama Nyandeng.
Good morning, Mama Mercy. Where are you coming from this morning?
I had taken Mercy for rota vaccine at the health center to protect my child against rotavirus diarrhea in infants and children. She was also vaccinated with other routine immunization vaccines at no cost. Is baby Mercy already vaccinated?
Yes, she was vaccinated last month. Does she need to be vaccinated again?
Yes, she needs to be vaccinated with at least 2 doses of rota vaccine at 6 and 10 weeks to be fully vaccinated, immunized, and protected against rotavirus.
Really? I just heard from afar that there will be a vaccination campaign during the African Vaccination Week, but I was not keen enough to get the details.
You know, rotavirus vaccines are effective in preventing diarrhea and deaths in infants and young children. This vaccine has just been introduced this year, 2025. A lot of children were not vaccinated. Some even travel without being vaccinated. I wouldn't want to see any child get diarrhea.
I didn't know that rotavirus is that serious, that it can even cause death.
Yes, rotavirus is a life-threatening disease caused by the virus. The signs are fever and vomiting, followed by water diarrhea, and can cause abdominal pain and dehydration. Children who survive may be dehydrated, which can cause serious complications.
Dehydrated or serious complication? Oh, that sounds scary. How can I protect my child from this dangerous disease?
The only way for your child to be safe is when your child and all children in your neighborhood are vaccinated with rota vaccine.
I will do that immediately. Where can I take my child for these vaccines? Hope it's not late.
No, you are not late. Rota vaccine and all the other routine vaccines are available at all health facilities and designated health centers located in your areas. Tell all your neighbors with children between 6 to 10 weeks to be vaccinated.
I'm glad you told me. I will take my child immediately to the nearest health center for rota vaccination.
Bring your child to the nearest vaccination site and protect them from rotavirus and vaccine-preventable diseases. This message is brought to you by the National Ministry of Health with support from WHO and UNICEF. وزارة الصحة قاموا ذكرى تتيم أسبوع الأفريقي بتتيم تحسبة الجديد لإيال كله من عمر 6 ل 18 شهور. شيلوا جانتك في أقرب مركز تتيم في فترة حملة الكبير ده.
صباح الخير أمة ميري.
صباح النور أمة غلوريا. ويترجى من وين صبا زيدي؟
أنا شيلو غلوريا عشان بوريلو تطعيم تحسبة في مركز الصحي، وكمان وديلو تطعيمات تانين الروتين لمناعة، ودي كله مجان. سيتا شيلو ميري كلاس لتطعيم؟
أي أنا شيلو في تطعيم شهر الفاد، ولا كمان دير كدنا رجعو تاني.
أي أو محتاج عشان بتعمو تاني، على الأقل كدو شيلو 2 جرعة تطعيم تحسبة، وباقي تطعيمات تانين الروتين من 9 ل 18 شهر عشان حسبة ما بجالو.
سي أنا أسمع من بيت قالي في حملة تطعيم بيجي عملوا في فترة تاع أسبوع الأفريقي للتطعيم، لكن أنا ما كنت بالتالي لتفاصيل تكلام دي.
انت عارف تطعيم تا حسبة ده وكمان فعال وبيشتغل قوام وبيحامي جنا من حسبة وموتوا لإيال البرادة وإيال السكرين. إيال كتير ما ودلو من جرعة نمرة 2 وفي تانين ذاته سافر بدون ما بيشيلوا تطعيم ده. أنا ما دير أينو إيا جنا بيقو بدو بحسبة.
يا سلام، أنا ما أعرف قالي حسبة دي مرض الخطر زي دي بيسببوا ضعفات وكمان بيجيبوا موتوا لجنا تاعي.
أي مرض حسبة ده وبيهددوا حياة وسبب تو يا فيروس حسبة. علاماته حمى وقحة، أنافة بجري موية ويون بتالا أمرو بجري موية ويالا اللي بيكون كويسين من عيان ده مناعتهم بيكون ضعيف ومم بيكون عنده مشاكل في مخ، لكن ده نادر ما بيحصل كتير لكنه خطر كمان.
جهاز المناعة بيكون ضعيف وكمان بيسبب مشكلة في المخ. مالو كلام ده قوي فانا زي دي. أنا بقدر حمي جنتي كيف من مرض الخطر ده؟
طريقة الوحيد عشان جنتك بيكون في أمان ده كان جنتك ويال تحلة شيلوا تطعيم تحسبة.
أنا أقول أعمل الكلام ده حاسة ده أنا بلقوا محل تطعيم ده وين، وأنا بتمنى إن شاء الله أنا ماكر.
لا إنت ماخر. تطعيم تحسبة ده وتطعيمات تانين الروتين ده كله متوفر في مركز الصحي ومحلات الخصصوا لمركز الصحة في حلتكم. وريلو كل جيراناتك الإيال تمن من 6 ل 59 شهر عشان بيشيلوا إيال تمن في تطعيم.
أنا مرتاح عشان توري لي أنا خبر ده. أنا بشيل جنتي حاسي لأقرب مركز الصحي للتطعيم عشان هو بيلقوا تطعيم تحسبة دي.
جيبوا جنتك في أقرب مركز الصحة عشان يتبهاميو بتطعيم من حسبة وأيانات تانين، وبعد تطعيم بوديلة كريت وكدتا حافظوا تمام كدتا استمر دو جنا أليندو حسبة دي وكدتا وديلو أكل الفوق غذاء تمام. الرسالة دي جالتكم من وزارة الصحة بمساعدة من WHO ويونيسيف.
Ready to give your engine the best care it deserves? Introducing Tropics Fully Synthetic Petrol Engine Oil. Engineered for peak performance, it provides superior protection against wear and tear, ensuring your engine runs smoother and lasts longer. For diesel engine drivers, meet Atro Oil Platinum Engine Oil. This premium oil designed to enhance fuel efficiency and reduce emissions, giving your engine the power it needs to tackle any challenges on the road. 2 oil, 1 promise of hassle-free reliability. Visit your nearest Haas petrol station today and experience the power of Tropics and Atro Oil, because what goes to your engine matters. Haas Petroleum, servicing new frontiers.
You tuned in and locked on to the eye of South Sudan, and it's a brand new dawn.
ومرحبا بك مرة ثانية مستمع راديو في كل مكان. دلوقتي اللي برفع فوق مكالمات على 0911 أو 22 986 986. الليلة احنا بنتكلم في موضوع بتاع مكافحة الزواج المبكر والقصري من خلال التعليم. ضيوف بتاعي في الاستوديو هم داتا جوردون, the executive director of men for women. I said women for men for women organization, and also Anna Jaggo GBV Officer, women for justice and equality. I radio.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
David Magog from WOW.
David Magog from WOW, welcome.
Let me welcome your guys in the studio. We appreciate them for the program that they are doing, but conditionally, or the situation of this country is not accepting the program that they are now preaching in the country. Why? Number one, the citizens are not informed exactly what is the role of these young ladies. Because they say that when a girl is already developing until is having what is so-called menstruation, it is, even though she is having 1 year, she deserves to be married. Now, as the people concerned, what do you tell them about the connection of menstruation plus the years that they are supposed to be acceptable internationally? This is number one. Number two, you know very well that South Sudan have very many crises, of which even many of you now are preaching this thing over the radios and in Juba, and they don't go to remote areas. And this one is happening now in remote areas. when are you going to the remote area so that you can tell the chief, the people concerned, so that they accept this program to be acceptable over the communities and so forth. Lastly, there are lawmakers who are now in national parliament, the other generals and honorables, are even taking 500 cows and a lot of millions of dollars vehicles and the land to go and marry a very small girl in maybe in the villages or in boomers and so forth. So when the family see that is eradication of poverty, what will your NGO or whatever that you are doing, what will you do to such person? Well, that is already a forced marriage, and you cannot be able to take that man to the court because already you have a title is honorable, and you know very well somebody with a big title or with a gun in South Sudan is the number one citizen in the country. What will your NGO do about it?
All right. Thank you, David Magog. Interesting questions there. Radio. Hello, Radio. Yes, get back to us on the same line. Let's speak one or two more calls before we come back to our guest in the studio. We have about 12 minutes to the top of the hour. The number is 0911 986 986. Radio. Hello, Radio.
Good morning, Emmanuel J. Akile.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, you are connected with James Dor.
James Dor, University of Juba.
I have two questions to the guest in the studio. One of the questions will relate to question of Bogog, but we need really to put it so that I see how is he going to answer. Is that you have government officials here going to the rural areas, marrying underage lady, and the law prohibiting that. And these people are marrying, and it is not announced, and the organization is not followed. How should you get rid of such? Because this is happening in all officials. They married a 15 to 16 or 17 years old girl, and organization seem not to take note of that, or you take note already, or you took note already of what is happening in the rural villages. Second, how should we really bring to the attention of the rural people on how they should really protect their girls, and they should also know that the education these people have is what they should put their daughters to go, so that they are different people like the people who are going to them as bosses. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, James Doro. Pick one more call. Radio.
Hello.
Yes.
صباح الخير.
صباح النور.
ماما ماريا.
ماما ماريا تفضلي.
أنا سلم جيب استوديو أنا سلم المستمعين كل اللي قاسمة. إتاينو كلامتا إرسال مبكر ده يعني تي أنا داير يعني جناس علي أملو إرسال ده يلا ودي في محكمة ما دايرو بني هذا سكر بني عمر 13 14 يلا قال الناس أخلتا ولد بيجاجني ما أخلتا مرة قال كلي كلام ده كلي تعطي من محكمة هناك يعني بيت بيت يعني إرسال ده بيكون فيه جama je nasa jadi de ba muluket ana der kali ودي الناس ده حاجه اللي بيقولوا إيجاب ولا حاجة كلمة حصل يكون جدي لأنه شنو يلا سكيرين ده إيمانه ما بعكده جنا جنا يلا جان إذا كان جانو مبستان وما بعكده وتابان ولا جات ما بعكده رساد بنيا ده وبنيا بيجا عنده جنا جنتين يعني بس ربنا يا وساعده هو ولده يلا بيكون جدي بيكون ما كويس لأنه يلا سكيرين ده يعني كان كلي يقرأ ما درسه أصلا سنو ومن بعرفه أمسكوا جنا ومن بعرف جاتوا جنا ده بيكون كده لكن يال مني تامنا خلاص بيجا قالوا في بيت ده كلام عليه أنا داير كده كل من جوابه ناس ده بعملوا كده أنا داير كلوا دي لناس ده كان عملوا كده بعملوا كده أصلا سنو كل الناس ما عملوا كلامات ده تاني مرة يال كلي كمان ما حصل أولاد جاتوا كلي كابو بيني أسوكر ريتا كان ما سارة تبرا أصلا كده لما تبصيله بيكون مرة ده حاجة أنا داير.
Alright, shukran jazilan Mama Maria takan Masara. Let's read few comments here also on our Facebook. We have Makui M. Dali saying only few educated ladies ain't sleeping behind bars as we are speaking. On the same note, most of them are not getting married. But it is not bad idea to empower girls' education. We have Warakawata is saying what specific educational programs have proven to be most effective in preventing child marriage? That's his question. And then we have Abraham Makur, who said, educating one girl is like educating the whole world. Let's empower girl-child education through gender and gender equality. So we have about 8 minutes, Data and Anna. Now you can respond to the questions. Let me start with you, Anna. Yes.
Okay, let me respond to the question of Mama Maria. So, Mama, sikil nas zede mon fi nak al yani zemaita sadu soal nas zede bamulu kef al bamulu zawaj al mubakar yani ze welet hamilu binia o bishilu fi mahkama minnak mon bikelem ke omon rageni ka usraten ke domon tafik le zawaj o kida fa de birija lenna kanas usar ta jena al hamiluda taban jena aslan o jena o mamara, okay? Fagalat zere lo amulu nepsu alafrut wasulu kalas fi ganun taban ita al kalas decide tara fi ganun de ita der hak ta jena tataki hak to de kev ganun baro fiatu ukuba bu edile sikil zol zede alamolo kalam de fa ita ka usra ita ma birudo aslan kan yani junubi kabasita minina kashan bijo wedile ta guru so kida lakin hasaf zuruf taban alanarfo fa usra tanin girudu kalam de ashanu mondergeru mustawa tomon ta zuruf de le shunu le mustawa yani kandesa kolgani bijao kida fa kutubi ni abiga ze sosta ligo gurush lakini alafrut fa ze awareness algamul nepsu gueri gali banat kerema wedi fi zawaj bediri bitta kide kan geni fi school o bordu bitala ze zolda kal gora laadi fi village gora kaba sonas al fi beletinak be mali al ketiro junu o bishilu banat alafrut awareness ze fa kanan nagishilo positive as community members it will support this issue of going deep into the village, deceiving people, marrying their girls at young age. So more awareness is needed, and then we as the community members, we need to take it positively. If we take it positively, things like this will not happen. But if we are looking at the bright price, that's why we end up giving our young girls for these forced marriages, early marriages. But for us, we need to know that this girl, if you give this girl quality education, he will do the same thing. Buying for you these cars, building for you the big houses or mansions houses, and then even the girl will buy for you those cows, okay, using her own money she worked for.
Right. I want you briefly also to say something about the question of Warakawata, about the specific educational programs that have proven to be most effective in providing child marriage from the organization perspective. Briefly, yes.
Okay. For Women for Justice and Equality, we have programs in schools, awareness on this GBV, and then educating girls on their rights and issues related to these early child marriages. So we arrange with the school administrations whereby weekly they provide for us like some 45 minutes to do the awareness, class to class awareness. Normally we start from class 5 up to P8, and then in secondary schools also, from first year to fourth year.
Right.
So, and also within the community, we have this community care program, which is now in Juba, and then in this side of Wow, Bormedina, and all this. So we reach to that side with this community care programming, promoting the positive norms on GBV.
Right. Data, now it's your turn. We have David Magog, James Dwar. Mamer also mentioned something, and then some comments from Facebook. You can put them all together. We have about 3 minutes.
Thank you so much. And let me start from the program from Karawata. As Men for Women, first of all, we are located within the Greater Equatoria, and we coordinate also programs together with partnerships with other partner organizations outside Greater Equatoria, and that means our programs are mostly done within the communities and not outside the communities, and like, for example, most of our programs, you go to the community and then you bring the community in these schools, centers, the churches, and then you have these community programs, not bringing them so much into the town. And most important thing is that currently we are having a 9 months program that is going to be engaging purely men and boys within 4 payams of Juba County, and these 4 payams excludes the city council, so they are outside the city council. So we'll be having these engagements. It is more of a behavior change activities, looking at that. So that brings into the issue of the programs. Well, our programs, we have the men for women clubs in schools, just like it's highlighted, but ours focuses on engaging the boy child in school to transform the behavior change in the school.
Yeah.
But we also do debates. We engage men and boys in other programs and many other things. So these are some of the programs that we see also impacts. But also we engage traditional leaders and also religious leaders in that. Now, I have seen one of the biggest questions is government officials marrying underage girls. And that for me is a loophole within our education, our laws, in the fact that some of them, I remember one involving a deputy governor in one of the states. And unfortunately, the government does not. Now, one thing that maybe people outside us will know is that for us as organizations, we are complementing agencies to the government. It is the government that apprehends and prosecutes and implements this. For us, we create awareness on these programs. So, and I remember one case that happened is that there is usually manipulation of age of these girls when they are married. Sometimes when you see that this girl is barely 18, she's even less than 18, these people in the communities, they change the age of the girl and they start to give a different age above 18. And now you as an organization, you do not have any other evidence to show that this girl is below the age of 18. And this also brings me to the issue of when I'm processing my my birth certificate, for example, do we have a register that it is electronic? When we go in the system, it brings out the details, apart from going to, of course, the nationality and others. That is the biggest component that for me is missing.
And on the government officials marrying, so you're saying government officials shouldn't stop or should not marry, or some of them should not marry young girls?
It's not that some of them should not marry. No one is supposed to marry a girl below the age of 18, whether you're a government official or not. If anyone marries, we shouldn't be segregative on the law. We've seen people being prosecuted at the GBV court for defilement, for marrying underage girls, for many other things. But why is it that when it is a top government official, we do not arraign them? We do not remove the immunity of this person and then arraign them. Right. One thing I want to encourage everyone is reporting is very important. You call 662 if anything is happening in your community and you think if you report you'll be attacked. Just call 662. Someone else within the Ministry of Gender, National Ministry of Gender, will take record of that. And now, if the Ministry of Gender does not do anything, then we'll have a role to play.
Right. Thank you very much. And some of the questions are yet to be answered, but we promise you that we will invite you again. We'll push this forward to another day. Thank you both, Dr. Gordon and Anna Jaggo, for joining us on the Don. It's our pleasure. All right. Let's leave it there for today. We've come to the end of the Don edition. Up next, news in Arabic with Al-Hadi Hawari.